All right, and we're live on Steelers Nation Australia. And my name's Mark Davison. You guys know me from the page. And today I'm joined by two awesome fans who we're going to get to know this story. But firstly, we have Oliver on the left and Catherine on the right. But who are we wearing today and why?
You first. I'm wearing Minka. I'm wearing Minka Fitzpatrick. And I'm wearing him because we were at the game in Pittsburgh in November 2019 against the Colts, where he got a 96-yard interception and return, pick six. And we also kind of came across him while we were in Pittsburgh. It was the day before the game. We didn't
hang on a minute.
Who he was.
You saw that interception.
Yeah, we were there. He was in the bathroom.
Yeah, I was in the bathroom for it.
And
I heard it.
He heard it happen. But no, I was there. I was in the stadium, and it was early in my Steelers and football journey, comparatively, I guess. So it was an easy decision for me. Like we saw him live, and we saw him do that live.
We bumped into him.
Yeah.
Where did you bump into Minka?
At the stadium or around the stadium the day before.
Yeah, right. Did you say anything? Did you talk to him, or did you say anything to him? Or
I left him alone. I wasn't 100% sure that it wasn't because he had been traded to us not that long before.
No, so like 3 weeks, 2 weeks.
So he looked familiar, and I was like, oh, I am not confident enough to go up to this guy, but I mentioned it to Catherine. I was like, I think that is Minka Fitzpatrick. she looked at the photo. I was like, no question. Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
He was with a girl, and then we looked up his girlfriend. It was him because.
Yeah. Right, that's cool.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. What a crazy time to be. And Catherine, obviously, you're from Australia, right? We'll get into how you guys met, and Oliver's from America, or born in America. But what a great game to be a part of, the versus Colts in that 96-yard run to start off your fandom. Firstly, let's jump into Catherine. Where did your fandom start, and was it because of your Oliver, your boyfriend here, or your partner?
Yeah, of course it was. Yeah, I sort of grew up always being told that ridiculous thing that like American football, they just wear all this padding. It's so stop-start. Like it's nothing. It's nothing like watching soccer or AFL or whatever. So I sort of had that just ingrained idea. Spent a lot of time in the US. I went to a college game at OSU a long time ago. I don't even remember who they were playing. And I didn't understand the game, and no one was really explaining it to me. So for a while there, I knew stuff, but I didn't really get into it. And then when we got together, Oliver's such a big fan that of course I was watching games and learning more, and he was a bit better at teaching me. And I originally picked the Packers. He said pick a team, and I picked the Packers.
Yeah, they're okay.
You could do worse.
You could do worse.
Yeah, they're not bad.
Yeah, you could do worse.
But it was just a bit. It was sort of not sustainable to be a fan of another team and be living with someone who was such a big Steelers fan, because it's like this is where I'm getting
that. Yeah, 100%.
Where I'm getting my stories. Yeah. He's so into keeping me updated with what's happening with the players and stuff that I just found myself caring more about the Steelers. So I dropped.
Yeah, so it just naturally just went that way, and it kind of rubbed off, and that's what obviously I can already tell. I haven't met these two guys, Oliver and Catherine, but I can already tell Oliver's a massive fan. He's got Shay's year on, he's black and gold, and he's got the color rush. He also has the Pittsburgh hat. But Oliver, how did you become a fan? And tell me your story before we put the two stories together.
I was born a fan. My dad's side of the family immigrated from England long before I was born, but they settled in Pittsburgh. And as we know, that town goes pretty hard for its teams. So when I was born, I was sort of never going to be anything but a Steelers fan. So yeah, I was raised in it from really.
Yes. So your parents were born in Pittsburgh, or?
Well, my dad was born in England, but moved to Pittsburgh when he was young. So he, for all intents and purposes, grew up there. Yeah.
Does your dad still live there now?
No, he's back near New York. But I still have family in Pittsburgh. My cousin, my uncle live there. So yeah, we have pretty strong family ties there.
So you've been a fan pretty much all your life. And actually, it's really good to have you on the page and on this video as well, because you are American and a lot of us are Australian. So when if there are new fans on the page or becoming a Steelers fan like Catherine here, it's very hard to figure out. Like for me, it took a long time to, 3 or 4 or 5 years. I love the game because it was the clash, the big bodies hitting each other. But to figure out how the game actually works, it takes a long time to figure out why, 3rd and 12, they could run a sneak draw to get them yards, but not really go for the first down, but get a better chance to punt the ball. If you're stuck in your like, why they're going to punt at midfield, and rather than they should go for a sneak. There's so many things in this, like who's their worst player, who's their best player. If they pick on the left tackle, just so many things in this game is because there are 22 players or 11 on each side. So you can focus on. I'm still trying to figure out more or less like the offensive line, how it works, because I know that those 5 players get forgotten about every year. Yeah, and they're really good players, but the TV doesn't watch the left tackle, the center, or the guard do their craft. But when you go back and watch Dotson or DeCastro and those kind of guys, when you see them hammer someone, I'm looking forward to that this year with those guys. But before we jump into more Steelers talk, how did you guys like meet and look on the screen right now, black and gold everywhere. How did you guys meet in America, and here we are, or you down in Melbourne now?
Yeah. So I'm an Australian who's been working at a summer camp in the US since I was 18. So I've done 11 summers over there, and it's the sister camp of the brother camp that Oliver went to as a camper and then became a counselor at.
This sounds like a movie. I've seen this in a movie, I'm pretty sure. Isn't it? We have like one camp island here and the other one here, and they like have like a night out to go dancing. They go on the boat or something.
More or less. Yeah.
Did you meet at a barn dance or something like that?
Oh, we have
been to
that. Yeah, but I don't think that would have been where we met specifically at that event. But so we knew each other for years, and then been together about 4 years now.
Did you meet Oliver in his black and gold gear? Was he already Steelers?
I don't know when I learned that you were a Steelers fan.
It would have been over the summer, so off season.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't really remember discovering some big moment when I discovered that he's this crazy fan and this is so important to him.
Yeah.
I think the first game we watched together was on Long Island. We went to that barbecue place. I think that's the first time that I really learned that you were a big football fan.
Ben Roethlisberger threw 5 picks in that game.
Great.
I was like,
which was it versus the Browns? That was in the playoffs, mate.
Oh no, that was this was years ago. It was
2017.
It would have been fall 2017. Yeah. I can't remember. Maybe they were playing Jacksonville. Anyway, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, hey, look, that's awesome. It's kind of funny too. Like, I know if I met someone in my Steelers gear, I think they'd probably run the opposite direction. Otherwise, there would be maybe a Browns fan too. But look, that's cool. That's really cool. But let's jump into like some stuff about the Steelers. I want to get your first and natural reaction. What happened last year from both of you? What happened with the Steelers versus Browns? What's going on?
You want to tackle it? Or
no, I mean, I don't know as much historically. I know that like obviously it was a shock, but there's also the history of like this can sometimes happen to the Steelers.
Look, I mean, I the first play of that game
just insane.
Was kind of doomed us. I do believe that the Steelers underestimated the Browns because of how historically foolish they tend to look. So I don't know that we took them as seriously as we needed to. And sometimes weird things happen in this game. I mean, that's one of the biggest things about football as opposed to, basketball or baseball or hockey or whatever, is that in the playoffs, you've got one game to win in advance, and one game to, it's not a best of 7. And I think if it had been something like a best of 7, maybe it would have turned out differently. But I think we underestimated them. I think they're a damn good team as well. I mean, the Browns are a good team, and it's still hard for me to convince myself of that.
Yeah. But it's very hard because the Browns, they are a good team. They have a good running back. The quarterback, I'm a bit iffy on still Baker, but when Baker can play and doesn't turn the ball over, They seem to win. They gave it to the Chiefs. They had a good go. Their receivers are good. Their defense is pretty good. The O-line's getting better. Their coaching is getting a lot better. Their culture seems to be changing in certain parts. But like maybe we need to give them a bit of credit, and that's why we didn't play that game, because I was pretty pissed off when I saw that ball go over the head, and Ben Roethlisberger and James Conner both said to each other, "Who wants to pick it up?" And nobody picked it up. A free 7 points, and the game was 7 seconds into it, down 7-0. By the end of the quarter, it was 28-0, and you're like, "Are you kidding? Like, this game's over. Like, there's no point."
The first game that my father was sat down to watch with me.
Really?
He'd be in and out of the room a few times for other games, but this was one where like I was home and he was there, and
That's just awful, because we were down. I think it was 35-3. Was it at halftime? I believe, or was it 28-3? It doesn't matter. I think it was 35-3. Yeah, it was. And I remember going live on this page, and I remember saying we have to get, and you guys would have chirped into it. I said we have to get pretty much back-to-back touchdown, 3 and out, touchdown, 3 and out, touchdown, 3 and out. Now, the Steelers did that twice. And I was like, oh, they're only 11 points away. And then they let a big drive in again. They let a massive drive go through, and there was no defense. But you can't let the defense can't save you. Big Ben threw 4 interceptions. Yes, he threw 4 TDs and 500 yards. But why? You can't put everything on the defense. That game was already out the window. We had a chance. And if we won that game, the Browns fans, I would have to go to their house and knock on their door and see if they're okay, because you couldn't. That was 28-0 or whatever it was. It's like, I don't know. But for us, I think, and we'll ask you guys near the end of the show. But for me, something sort of changed, because the playoff game versus Jaguars, we were meant to beat them. We won the AFC North again, and the shootout was 47-38 or something. That was. What are your thoughts on that, Oliver?
I mean, look, I think we have come up short in the postseason after being a really good regular season team somewhat consistently for the last half a decade. Oh, we missed the postseason for a couple of years. But, I mean, look, I am a Mike Tomlin fan. I mean, I think he is a brilliant coach who really doesn't get the credit he deserves, particularly what he did back in when we lost Roethlisberger. So 2019, I mean, piloting that team under Duck and Mason Rudolph to, a winning record is astonishing.
We had a chance with the last 3 games. All we needed to win was 1, and we're in the playoffs. Yeah. We had Duck there. Duck was going well. It didn't really work near the end. We had a young Mason Rudolph. I actually believe more in Mason Rudolph now, but he's been in the job 3 or 4 years now, so he's getting better, has a better chance, and he's behind Ben. But yeah, with Mike Tomlin that year, we went 8-8 or whatever it was, and we had a chance to be in the playoffs where we shouldn't have been, because if you lose your starting quarterback, many teams just go hit the dirt and they give up, and they want to lose every game and then get number 1 draft pick. But we know, like the Steelers, the franchise isn't built that way. I wouldn't like to watch my team win 2 games and now it's 15, lose 15 to get the Jets fans, the Dolphins, them, the Jets fans, Dolphins, those kind of guys, Jaguars. They say, "Oh, who cares? We'll get it next year." Man, stuff that. There's only so many years in this life. I want to see every year or every game we have a chance to win. Yeah. So look, I've been talking about it a little bit on my podcast as well, on the Pine Steel Curtain. There's something sort of changed this year, and we will get to it near the end of the show. But it's we have to win a game. Like, and we got TJ Watt, you're wearing Minka, we've got Devin Bush, we've got so many good guys on defense. Alawali is back now. He's really key at the middle. Cam Hayward's he's lighting a fire under these guys. Right. It's just like something has to push forward and be like, okay, we won the division. Let's win this game. And you've got to win it by 10. You've got to win it by 14. You can't. Yeah, I think we're all our hearts sank last year. And the fact that, Catherine, you showed your dad that game, that's just funny. Is he still a fan?
Yeah, look, I don't know if he had Steelers fan. I mean, he supports me, so he supports all of whatever. He's sort of about the game. He's happy to sit and learn, and he has questions.
You're like, here's a game that we love. Oh wait, they're down 28-0. He's like, that's bad. Yeah, that's bad.
Next season.
All right, so who is your favorite player? I think you might be wearing, Catherine. But Catherine, who's your favorite player? all time?
Yeah, no, I think it would be Minka. I can't think of.
It's a good one. He's a good soul too. He's a good person. You can tell that already.
Yeah. Yeah. Is there anyone else who would be in contention? I gotta say, I like the look of Loudermilk.
Yeah, really? Or just the name?
Just the name. The name. I just decided to jump on that one.
You got to buy his jersey now, so no one else does, and you got to be his number one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Where does that name come from? Is that? I have no idea. Like my name's Davison, like son of Davy or David, son of. Oh, I don't even know where that comes from. Loudermilk is just wild. What about yourself, Oliver? Who's your like ultimate favorite player?
I knew this question was coming, and I have different answers. I have different answers for different reasons, but I hope it doesn't sound too cliche, but I think Joe Green is my favorite player of all time. And, obviously I was too young to see him play, but more or less single-handedly turned the entire franchise around.
Yeah.
And that just can't be overstated. The guy was brilliant.
I got a question for you, Oliver. Let's talk about that. Now, for me, I watch. I'm a massive fan, but I can't get into that. To be honest, like I know Joe Green is a great player, one of the best, but I feel like being younger, there's a disconnect there. Do you find that? Like watching highlights and the old games, yes, it's great, but you can't get that personal feeling. Like my favorite is Debo, and second is Troy Polamalu. But I watched him play. Now with Joe Green, awesome player, but he was from the 70s. Yeah. And if you're not born in that era, what do you think about that disconnect that there's been 20 years in between?
Totally. That makes all the sense in the world. I don't go looking up 70s games on YouTube all that often, but I would say so much of my appreciation for the Steelers comes from how well they are run and managed. It's just a brilliant franchise, and to be able to more or less credit one person with making it that is, to me, that puts him on my Steelers Mount Rushmore instantly.
Well, he definitely did turn it around. He turned around when that draft class, I think it was 1970. I can't remember. 70 draft class might be, or 69. And they went on to win 4 Super Bowls in the next 6 years. Yeah. So he's definitely like a huge impact. And for me, like I do know the history and stuff like that. But I guess that personal feeling, there's a massive disconnect there, and I can't, like, when we're older, like 80 years old or whatever, we can tell our kids and say, "Did you see Troy?" Or Troy was like one of the best. I'm like, who was that flying magician? Like Hines Ward and those kind of guys. You're like, Hines Ward got kicked to the teeth and was smiling, or he knocked out a Raven. Hines Ward did some things that you can't do now, or in the NRL, or in the AFL. He blocked with his 2 hands, and like he just rocked people.
Broke that guy's jaw. Yeah.
Yeah, who was he broke? Was it a Raven's jaw or someone?
Yeah, it was a Raven. I don't remember his name.
But there's a lot of times he knocked people out, and we can connect with that because we grew up watching. I started watching in 03, 04 was my first start near Dan Creeder and those kind of guys, and Willie Parker, Amos Zeraway, all those guys. So I can connect with those guys. And when we're older, it's gonna be fun to see. But yeah, the thing I know about me and Joe is that he is that Steeler guy, and other Steelers. If I'm playing, if I was Alualu, I'd be. Well, actually, he doesn't really need motivation, but I'd be looking to him and going, okay, look, I'm going to be like him. But then we have our own modern day version. What are your thoughts about Cam Hayward? Because he's very similar to me and Joe.
Yeah, I mean I don't know that he is the franchise defining player in the way that me and Joe is, but the guy has been the defensive leader for what 12 seasons now, 10 seasons. I mean,
I think it's about 11 or I can't remember 11 or 10 or something like that from 2007 or 8.
Yeah, I mean, the Steelers don't retire people's numbers really ever, but if they decided to for Cam Hayward, I wouldn't be shocked.
Yeah. Well, actually, this is going to be part of our trivia as well. And we'll see. Well, I got 5 questions at the end of the show, and I think you've already said 2 questions of mine already. Stop giving them away, all right? Jeez.
Sorry.
All right. Catherine, do you have in your short time as a Steelers fan, that doesn't matter. But do you have a favorite play so far, like that stands out?
Oh man, yeah. I mean, I've already told the story, but yeah, no, it would be.
Yeah.
It would be.
So it was the pick six, and because you were part of that home game, and yeah, awesome. See, that was for me too. When you're watching that, Minka already knew where that ball was. Who threw it? I can't remember who was on the Colts that year. I don't remember who.
Wasn't it?
Who was it? Sorry.
Yes, you tell me that. Yes.
Jacoby Brissett was.
Brissett threw it. Yeah.
Well,
yeah,
I think
we were
so.
10 yards out, and then he was just see you later to their house.
Yeah.
And the fact that you saw that in person, for me, like I went to the Christmas Day game, and I've watched that game about 10 times. Because when you see it and you watch it again,
yeah,
that's bloody awesome. Oliver, what's your favorite play in entire Steeler history? If you can name one play.
I mean, anyone who's a Steelers fan that was watching this game remembers this, but watching James Harrison return that interception during the Super Bowl was, I have memories of being a Steelers fan before that. I was pretty young then, but I mean, I think that moment for me just sort of changed my perception of how exciting this game can be. And it's probably the best.
Have you ever seen that footage with the NFL films behind it as well? And that's another thing. Like if I ever meet people who are just watching the game, the NFL films and the way that this football is, portrayed and received is just amazing. Like when Harrison got that ball back, and they do a 5-minute clip on a 100-yard run that should go for a minute or so. It's just amazing. Like we were talking about before. Harrison had an entourage of people around him. He had, I believe, Keezer was in there. There were some other defensive guys. I think it was Deshae Townsend or Ike Taylor tried to take the ball off him, and he said, "No way, mate, get stuffed. I'm going to run it." McFadden was in there somewhere. That we had Antron Roll was on the sideline, and then Larry Fitz was chasing him down. Harrison jumped over 2 or 3 people, and you told me before off air. You said you showed Catherine the play, and that is the play that you want to see. Like that's an amazing play. And at the end of it, Debo was gassed and he's like, "Oh man, I better be." Like I was hoping when I saw that, I was like, "I hope he got in." Like that, if he didn't get in, he was called short. And we've been duped in the past before. And if he was short the 1 yard, and they said, "Oh, no, that's it," and that will count 99 yards or 98 yards will count for nothing. But that play was like a momentum changer. We come into the halftime, and then what happens next? Because Kurt Warner, that Arizona Cardinal team, actually was a pretty good team. They played. They had I think it was Steve Bresson in there. They had Fitzgerald. They had another young receiver there too. They had a good team. Like they had, it could be similar to what we have now, an older quarterback. But we, came back and got that dime in the end zone. Do you remember seeing that one to Holmes?
Antonio Holmes, yeah. Never forget it.
Like
as long as I live.
Yeah. These are the plays that we want to see now, and we just can't seem to get on that playoff run where we're like, oh, you might see a few miracles like this happen, because that was in the Super Bowl, and there's other plays in the past where the bus I was watching the other day, in Super Bowl 40 and the versus Colts, he's like, and Tunch Ilkin, who's now he was a great Steeler. Now was a radio guy. I've been listening to Tunch for ages, and he says we're on our way to Denver, and then fumbles, and then they're like, "Oh, wait a minute, you better cancel those tickets to Denver," and he's like, "No," and then like Vinatieri or someone, is it Vinatieri, misses the kick? You're like, how the fudge did that happen?
Yep.
Like these, we need these again. You remember seeing? Did you show Catherine that as well?
Well,
that happened.
I mean,
the game that we were at,
the game that we went to in Pittsburgh against the Colts, that's how the Steelers won that game as well. Was a missed kick.
Oh, right.
Yeah, as time expired.
Yeah. Jeez. What do you do? Just put a big uproar.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I think there was about 3 seconds between him missing the kick and everyone collectively realizing that he'd missed the kick.
Well, you can't see. You can't see when you're at the stadium. You don't know what's going through what. You just got to rely on the judges at the back.
I knew because Oliver figured it out. Like, or like explain, you know, like I didn't know what was happening, and then
it was a cool moment.
I've missed it.
Yeah. Well, I was going to ask you. So you guys actually have been to a game. Have you been into any other games besides the Steelers versus Colts?
Just the one for me.
Just the one. Hey. Yeah. Well,
just a weekend in Pittsburgh. It was a good one.
Well, you were there for a week. A week in Pittsburgh, was it? You said
just a weekend. It was just needed to get to a game.
I'd never been. Like I said, you know, I grew up in New York and New England, so really my options to go see games were either at MetLife or at Foxborough, and I didn't want my first game to be at Foxborough. So like I couldn't stomach that. So I ended up waiting a long time before I was able to chill out and go, and it was totally worth it.
That's a good point though, because I've had a lot of Australian people, not on my page, but people in my life, that said to me, you know, would you want to see American football in Australia? And honestly, you guys might hate me for this, but I don't want to see it. I never want to see an NFL game in Australia. I want to go to the stadium, and I want to be a part of the American experience, not the Aussie bogan experience where they're serving 4 and 20 pies, where you've got Raiders fans who don't even know who the F they are, other than the coaches. I don't want any of that.
Scheduling either. I mean, how do you schedule an NFL game halfway around the world? You know, which is I guess they play in London, but
London's hard enough, and the Jaguars have that with their home. But honestly, you can't do it. I've thought about it and had debates with people, and they said, "Oh, well, you know, get bigger fans in Australia." But I'm saying, like, no, I want to find the fans that love the game and want to travel to. And look, the people listening on the page now, I will hope, and you guys have been there. We got a page of 160 people now. It's growing every day. Growing now, well, I didn't even need to do anything with it. I got a few likes here and whatever there. Look, if you need help to get there, not money, but like to how to get there and where to go, I'll tell you, it's one of the best things you can do in your life. I don't want to see Steelers versus Rounds at Sydney Cricket's bloody over. Like, I don't care about that. Like, that'll just be the players would be so tired. Like,
I'd still go, but
I agree with you.
Well, I'm gonna protest and not go, so you can have my spot. But like you couldn't do it. The players would be too tired. They tried it with college, I think, a few years ago, and Hawaii got beat by Cal or vice versa by 50-something to nil. It was just like football's not there. When the world does open up again, and it will eventually, no matter how you think about all this stuff going on, it will open up. And we're gonna get you guys over there. And look, all of you been there once, and you're American. That's crazy. So I got fans on the other show I do. There's people in Miami or where I've never been there. So, but America's a pretty big place. So, we'll get there. We'll get it one day. We can probably all go. I don't really know, but we need to get there like after a Super Bowl win or something like that. Overall, to finish, pardon?
I don't know. Just Pittsburgh in general was the best.
Great city.
Did you like the city? The city's pretty nice. I'm biased. We're all biased, but the city's a like pretty well laid out city, isn't it?
It's a great place.
And
great personality.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I mean, I don't know how much my experience was influenced by the fact that we saw this amazing game, which was a win. And so being, you know, with the vibe of being different if it hadn't been. I just, you know, I look back on that day, and I said this to Oliver the other day. It's kind of like everything was brighter. Like it's a memory where things haven't
that's awesome.
Faded into like sepia. It's more like a flashback in my life where everything is just.
Did you guys go to Mount Washington and stuff like that in Southside? I've
been before in my life, but no, we didn't go during that trip.
Yeah, right. But you're exactly right. And for the fans in Australia, the big thing is, and I know it took me 15 years to get there. So you watch it on ESPN. We wake up at 3 a.m. to watch our games. We play the video games. We watch the films. Like there's a lot of films that do Pittsburgh. All this stuff, all this media, and all you see is your stadium. And when I went there in 2016, I went there on a cold day because my plan was to go there for a Super Bowl, 49, I believe, but they got beat by Denver that year. I think Bell was out or something like that. Anyways, the plan was to be in the city while they were there. It didn't happen. But I remember walking to look at the stadium and thought, holy fuck, I'm here. Like, if I finally got there, I was like, I saw this playing Madden. I saw it on all the films. I saw it on TV with the announcers coming with the big zoom coming in, going, oh, here's your stadium. And then you walk up and go and you freeze and you're like, oh, there it is. And you go and look at it for a while and go, that's awesome. You know, I didn't see a game.
And the location, I mean, Heinz Field in particular, I of course I'm biased, but I think it is a particularly cool stadium. a brilliant placement in the city. It's in the city. It's not, you're not driving 45 minutes out of Boston to go see your team play on a 2-lane road.
You walk over the bridge and you're there.
Yeah,
I find Pittsburgh is a big little city, or vice versa. Like you can just get around it. Like, did you guys go see a Pirates game as well? Because apparently that's meant to be awesome views of the city.
I didn't go.
No, if you
gotta go back.
Ever get back over there? I didn't go either because me and my dad were there in 2019, and we looked at each other and thought, it's a good idea, but can I stomach 6 hours of being bored?
Yeah.
And I thought, no. But the view is meant to be really awesome, like over the city. But you're right, like you got Southside with all the industrial stuff. You got, I think even Southside, that's where they play their training the training facility down there as well. I think. You had the city. Yeah, the city as well is awesome. Like, and everything's so local. You get on the free trams and you run around and
it's sweet.
Everyone. Yeah, it's and we are biased, but if anyone's listening, once you get there,
I didn't have a reason to be biased at the time. Like, I wasn't really a Steelers fan yet at that stage.
You were going to a game.
I was going to a game for you, but as someone who wasn't, didn't have that connection, I went to the city and just loved it, fell in love with it. So it doesn't matter.
Good for it's just good for like the art scene's pretty good for. It's like, I guess it's a bit like Melbourne, but on a bigger scale with all the culture and stuff like that. Yeah, it's crazy. To finish on 2020, guys, who was the overall MVP, do you think, for 2020? And then we'll jump into 2021 and then we'll start to wrap it
up. Steelers MVP or league MVP?
Yeah. Steelers MVP for last year. Who was the guy that stood out and gave his all?
TJ Watt was
100%.
Absolutely robbed of defensive play.
I know. How did that? What happened?
It's a popularity contest, but the fact of the matter is he led Aaron Donald in every defensive category and played one fewer game. I mean, the guy, he's unstoppable.
If we won that game, Steelers vs Browns, would he have won the MVP or not?
I don't know. I mean, it's meant to be a regular season thing, isn't it? But it's hard to not have what happens in the postseason kind of color what happens there. I don't know.
See, I'm the same as you. Like the last 2 years, TJ Watt had a chance, and then O'Donnell come in different positions, but TJ Watt had won this game more stats. Catherine, yourself, any players stood out last year, or was it just the fact that it was TJ?
That was going to be my answer. It would have been my answer.
I think he's becoming the guy now. Oh, sorry, you go.
No. That's what I would have said. I
just think he's the guy now that every year we know he's going to turn up, and he's kind of like, oh, TJ Watt will do this, and then we'll see what the other guys do. I haven't, even in our podcast, we haven't talked about him once on our shows. He's a great footballer. He's going to set the edge. He's going to take on Villanueva on the Ravens now. He's going to do some crazy things. Hey? Yeah, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts about that? Because I don't watch the O-line too much. Is he going to school him every day or every play?
I think so. I mean, Villanueva did not have a good season last year. I mean, the guy was hardly doing his basic. I mean, yes, James Conner had moments where he didn't look great last season, but the bottom line is that our offensive line last season could not run block to save their lives. And it showed in the post. We couldn't run the ball. I do not think of Villanueva as a huge loss to the offensive line.
Yeah. We were 32nd for a reason, right? So
yeah, exactly. Right.
And overall, I think our Big Al was a good guy. He didn't miss a snap for 4 or 5 years. And I've got no hate against him or whatever, but maybe his skill and talent wasn't there.
And he's getting older. I mean, and he's not David DeCastro. I mean, that's
How's he going to go with the Ravens though? Lamar, they're a running team, and it just seems funny what they're trying to do in Ravenland. I feel like they're going down.
I think they're overpaying him, and I think that unless he improves from last season, I find that to be a questionable decision by Baltimore to sign him. Because they are a run-heavy team, and he could not run block.
maybe they're getting him just because, like, you know, he's got the prestige there, but he might not. This is what the Browns did for years, and now they're showing a good team, but they just seem to buy players to get him from anywhere, and then the big market guy, and the Steelers don't do that. So maybe they're getting him with Al, and then I'm keen to honestly. I think I'll ask you guys now. What's going to happen with the AFC North? Where do we rank among the 4 teams? Sorry, 3 teams. I don't count the Bengals.
Yeah. Look, I think I enjoy football most when the division is competitive. And it's been fun to have the Browns as a punching bag. It's been fun to have Cincinnati as a punching bag, but I think the product is better when the game is competitive. I could see any of the 3 winning the division this coming season.
And not the Bengals?
And not the Bengals, yeah. Of course not. They're not there yet. They drafted a receiver instead of fixing their offensive line. They don't make any sense.
You know what I saw? I found something funny online. It was to do with, like, I don't know if you guys watch AFL down there. I believe it was like Essendon or someone. I don't know. It was one of the AFL teams, but this fan was putting in a bit of rice a day and saying that every one rice equals one day that they haven't won a championship. I thought about doing that with the Bengals because it's been 11,100 days since they haven't been in the playoffs. But then I was like, then I've got to count the rice, though. I've got to count 11,000.
Yeah.
So I was like,
yeah, they're a hapless organization. But anyway, to answer your question, I think it's anyone's division other than the Bengals. I think it's going to come down to defense, ultimately, as it tends to. But I think this year more than others, because we'll be better at running the ball. I hope.
Najee.
Yeah, we should do.
Yeah,
let's talk about that. Let's talk about the draft, and we'll go. This is great. What are your thoughts on the draft, guys?
I'm excited. I mean, I'm big on. I mean, I'm still learning bits about the sport. I'm still learning the history and everything, but I get connected to like the character piece of like learning. They're like characters to me. I know they're.
Have you seen Najee's interviews? They're awesome.
Well, we watched the documentary, the like 4 or 5 part.
Oh, I haven't seen that yet.
It's
your time. Yeah. So because we watched that, now I feel more connected to like the character of Najee, and
he just seems like
a good dude.
Yeah, doesn't he? To me, like he's not giving. If they ask a silly question, he's like, "Dude, why ask me that question? Catch the ball." They asked him. One guy asked him, "Can you catch one-handed drill?" He's like, "Have you seen my tape in college?"
Yeah, he's great. Look, I think the draft went fine. I mean, I guess tight end in the 2nd round to me kind of took me by surprise. But
me too.
The bottom line is that my feeling is that Mike Tomlin and Kevin Colbert have proven that they are effective drafters, and they know more than I do about this process. So I really don't have a problem with deferring to them if they think that was overall the right choice across the board. I mean, I think it was an effective draft. It wasn't a sexy draft, but it was effective.
If Najee Harris, and he's a good bloke, and it turns into one of his Steelers fan favorites, if he can run the ball and let Big Ben have less pressure, then we've already won. If we can get to the 16, rank in rushing yards, then we've won because we were 32. And how many times last year did you watch the game and go, why did you, Snell, what are you doing? Or McFarland tripping over his feet. Like it was a bad running game.
Not to mention the fact that we've got a new offensive coordinator, which I think was absolutely a necessity. And they were asking a 38-year-old quarterback coming off of severe elbow surgery to throw the ball 40 times a game. It just doesn't make any sense.
It's crazy. I want to interview you, Catherine, in 10 years when you do know the game and come back to interview like Randy Fickner. You kidding?
No,
that's what I want to see because how stale was that? Like we had him for a few years, but there was times where I called out plays in my living room to my parents. I said, "Look, Juju's running a motion here. He's gonna get the ball and he'll get tackled. Like that's already been set up, and they've got two wideouts to fake it. Like you could see it. If we can see it, then they can see it.
Of course, they promoted him to make Ben happy going into a contract year, and that was basically it. I think Matt Canada will be better because I don't get how one could be worse.
Yeah, exactly. And he had 7 days to put it in. Tomlin comes in this too, but Tomlin's more of a leader in the whole idea. And then Tomlin should let the offensive coach do his thing, and then he shouldn't be like, what do you want me to do? But you had 7 days to have a game plan, and you can't use that same game plan. That it worked first. It worked first the Jets, but it's not going to work against Baltimore. And he never changed it. And then they figured us out week 11 or week 12, and we just couldn't do anything. But
I think they figured for that, and it's just that our defense was so dominant that they were sort of carrying us through it. It was an embarrassment offensively.
Because there were times when you knew that we will get the ball, and you're like, you might as well go on defense first. Because we're going to run 2 yards, 2nd and 8, and then 3rd and 8, and then kick the ball away, and Jordan Berry's going to kick it away, which I think he might be replaced this year. Thoughts on the new punter? You think Berry's gone?
Look, I admit that drafting a punter made me blink. But the guy,
he's a unit though.
He's a unit. I mean, I cannot judge until I see him, and if he can hold the ball and he can punt it. Great, whatever. I don't think I tend to buy into this whole draft value piece as much as some pundits do. It's you don't draft a running back in the first round. You never draft a punter. Like, get lost with that. I mean, if he was the best player at a position we needed, then take him.
And no one's even played football yet. Like,
right. Yeah,
I guess we're on our own heart. We're all analysts and like, well, this guy's the worst. The Browns got an A+. Who cares, mate? You haven't played yet.
Yeah.
What you can do now is we might do a piece on this on Behind the Steel Curtain this Sunday. And we might look at 2018 draft with Mason, Jalen Samuels, Chuks Okorafor. Those guys have been in the league 3 years now. Yes, you've got a bit more data to analyze and push. But, bringing in a guy like Haskins, they're like, well, he's going to be the Super Bowl. He's going to be the future. You're like, you don't know. You don't have no idea. Like, Najee's on tape, he looks really good. But other guys, you just got to say, like, I know when I was little and watching the game when I was 12, 13, like guys like Farrier and stuff like that the middle linebackers wouldn't even start in the game for 3 or 4 years. And now with our social media, everything's got to be right now. We want the player to start straight away.
Yep.
And that's never happened in Steelers history.
Yeah.
Like, you haven't really had that. You've had, they would bleed them in for 3 or 4 years, and then they would start. Like Lawrence Timmons did, or Woodley, or those kind of guys. Devin Bush is an exception because we traded up for him. Yeah. But like, it's just, like I the people and the pundits and the ESPN guys that like say that the Ravens won or Browns won, it's like they don't win anything,
Yeah,
what do you reckon?
Well, I think Dan Rooney had, when he was alive, had a great quote that was saying, everyone focuses on trying to win the draft and forget that the whole point of the thing is to win a Super Bowl, which is, brilliant and dead on. Yeah, I think if Cleveland still has a weakness now, it's this mentality that they can't quite shake of winning the offseason. We won the offseason. We had a great draft. We signed these players. We're creating a super team. We signed Jadeveon Clowney or whatever. It's all fine, but if you're not winning a Super Bowl, it doesn't matter. I think that is perhaps to me the element of sort of culturally in the Browns that I see not changing yet.
And they might be a scary team this year as well because
it might be.
They finally won that playoff game in the last 15 years or whatever it was. There's a feeling around that camp that they can contend for the division, which will create good football.
Yep.
That's why I see the Ravens kind of falling down a little bit too. I don't really trust Lamar too much to be a passer. And I think not that there's not a passer. It's the fact that when guys like him that run the ball and that your mate Minka, Catherine, smacks him, are you going to want to throw that ball the next down?
Yeah.
Like you don't want to. Like, you get smacked, what's the point?
He's look. He can throw. He's had some great games. I don't know that I think he'll ever be as he was when he started playing quarterback. I do believe there's more tape on him. Teams have sort of figured out how he works, and that doesn't mean he's not going to be successful. I do think it means that less and less will be sort of wowed by the unpredictability of it.
What are your thoughts? Do you think the Steelers have figured him out with the running game as well?
Yeah, his stats against the Steelers are, I think, the lowest compared to any other team.
And they lost that other guy, the running back, big
Ingram?
trust guy. I can't remember his name.
Melvin Ingram, or not Melvin Ingram, Mark Ingram.
He's gone now, right? So a lot of their running identity, they still got Gus Edwards there, those kind of guys. But it's like, there's a point now I think the Steelers might have the advantage passing or running with Jackson or the Ravens.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Sure hope.
All right, we'll start to wrap up soon. What are your overall thoughts? Do we have a chance this year? Can we win the Super Bowl? What do we need to do, Catherine?
Oh God.
Don't worry, trivia's coming next.
I have the general sense of not yet, but maybe in a couple years.
Really? All right.
Yeah, I don't know if that's something.
We have to dive into that a little bit. Why do you think that? So it's not going to be this year. Big Ben's he's almost finished.
Yeah. I think it's the Big Ben thing for me. Not convinced that. But I haven't seen, but like I'm judging on last season, we've talked about the issues
Denver
that surrounded
defense,
that, and that it's not.
The Denver defense dragged the corpse of Peyton Manning to the Super Bowl back in 2015.
How did he win one? Unbelievable.
It can be done.
He played awful.
Yeah, it can be done.
That was the worst. That was the worst. Peyton Manning throwing duck eggs and he still wins the Super Bowl. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it can be done. Look, am I as confident going into this season as I always am? No, but I do believe that one of the best things about being a fan of the Steelers is that every year that your team is going to compete and views their goals as a Super Bowl or falling short of that. There's no, we're just going to make it to the playoffs and that'll be a success for the franchise. We don't subscribe to that. So I think every offseason there is a belief that maybe it can be done again.
Yeah, and that's the fun of it too. That's why we love sports, and that's why actually having you guys on this platform and the Steelers page, and once everything does open up, everyone will meet, we'll get together. That's what's the best about it. That's what's so much fun. I've been over to when I was in Europe and I was wearing a Steelers shirt, and this bloke walked past me and was like, "Hey, mate, you from Pittsburgh?" I went, "Nah, mate, I'm from Australia." And he said, "Why the heck are you wearing a Steelers?" I'm like, "Because I can." And then we just kept walking. Like, that's why we do it. And
yeah.
Everywhere I go, I had it. Even getting off the bus in Pittsburgh, and after a long ride from, I think it was, we went from Gettysburg to Pittsburgh or whatever we did. I can't remember. But I got off the bus, and we're in Pittsburgh, and me and Dad are there, and I get off the bus, and this guy just goes, "Oh, hey, Pittsburgh," and just like, fist bumps me. And not everyone in the city, will see your shirt and say something, but it's like that. I don't know. You see someone wearing the colors of the jersey at the airport, or when you're traveling, and you instantly just like your friends, like another guy in New York, I walk past and the security guy's like, "Oh, nice hat," and I'm like, "Here we go, mate. We've got a good season." Or vice versa. I've had people even on the Central Coast here yell out, "Lord, Giants are going to win." I'm like, "Are you joking?" Like, it's just it's a good culture. I think we have a chance this year, just because of Big Ben's time is winding down next 2 years. I think Najee, the offense, is going to do what they're meant to do and put points on the board. I think they should have. We're playing the hardest schedule, but I still think we have a chance. If Najee's there and the running game is successful with Matt Canada, then the defense will. No matter we lost Hilton and the guys like that, we still have a chance to win. If we get the playoffs, look, I'll be pretty pissed off if we get the playoffs again and lose. Yeah. I might turn. My arrow might go, "Are you kidding? Like, what's going on? Like, at least get there and try to win."
I mean, I think the difference this year from last year will be that this will be a more balanced team, and that is what we needed last year to do better. So if that comes true, then I have high hopes.
Yeah, Big Ben's got to check his ego a little bit and just look. Don't always pass that ball. Hey,
guys, just needed to check his ego.
But it's like he's a funny one. Like, people ask me, "Well, you think he's good?" I'm like, "He's really good," but then he'll also throw a 10-yard pass when we're inside the bloody red zone, and we just want to put points on the board, and they'll just turn it over. You're like, Ben, what are you doing? There's 3 points there. But then he'll come back and win the game by 4. So maybe he likes that pressure.
He's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah. Last question before we get into trivia.
Yep.
And trivia might be a bit hard, but Catherine, we're still going to put you under the pump.
Yeah. We're going to do two different levels. Yeah, I'll do my best.
This will be fun. What team, Catherine, do you think is in the Steelers' way? We've had the Patriots in our way for so long. What team is in our way who do we have to get past to win the Super Bowl?
Okay, so not within the division, not necessarily from our schedule.
It can be in the division, it can be in the AFC, it can be in the NFC. But who's that team that's in our way? Like for me, it was the Patriots for years, right? They had Tom Brady, that kind of guy, and Elijah here puts in the chat KC. So we have Mahomes,
Chiefs, Packers. Maybe not Packers with Aaron Rodgers.
They can be in the way if we get to the Super Bowl. We can't beat them.
Yeah. The Chiefs and I think the Bills.
Oh, I forgot about the
Bills. Yeah, but I don't know. I like the Bills, but I kind of don't because they're like. I think I would be almost a dead fan if I was a Bills fan. I'd go through a table. I'd be honest. I'd probably do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I wouldn't do the sauce. Maybe the fire, depending how drunk I was. But I probably would do it, If I went into Bill's Mafia and I was like, Australian, like, what's going on? It's really cold. I'd probably be like, hey, can you powerbomb me through that table?
They're wild. And I do respect the fan base. I mean, they are as passionate as we are.
They're a pretty good football team, right? You would say they have a good running game.
They're getting better.
They have a young Ben, like what's his name? Yep. Not Rose. Josh Allen, yeah. He looks like a young Ben. They got a good running back. They got a good defense. Their safeties are really good. They're hard hitting. It's hard to play up there. Yeah. So you think the Bills are in our way if we get to the AFC Championship or the division? We have to beat them, eh?
I think we cannot discount them the way that we've been able to for the last 25 years.
Right. And we versed them week 1. Do you think we can beat them week 1?
I hope so. I don't know that. I think the Bills have built their roster to be more immediately explosive than maybe this. The Steelers will wear you down. I think week 1, the Bills are going to come out of the gate swinging. I would not be surprised if we started the season 0-1, but look, anything's possible.
Yeah. It's a game we don't need to win. And for the Bills, we know both these franchises will be at the end of the day in the playoffs. There's now 8 teams or 7 teams, so we know they're going to be involved. Do you guys want to go on a trivia to wrap up the last 7 minutes?
Okay.
All right. So I was going to do multiple choice, but the easier way is just to ask a question, and then whoever wants to buzz in will get a point, and there's 5 questions, so you can win 3-2. But they are pretty hard though. All right. So the first one, what receiver threw a touchdown in Super Bowl 40?
Threw a touchdown.
Yeah.
What are we at now? How far back are we going?
56. So this was the Steelers versus Seahawks in Super Bowl 40. What receiver threw a touchdown? And if you don't get it, I get a point.
Oh God.
Do you know?
No.
Once I tell you, you'll know.
Yeah, I think I know Hines Ward was in that play. I can't remember if he threw it or caught it. If he didn't throw it, I think it was Randall L.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was Randall L. So 1 point to Ollie there. Yeah, it was. You got to look. That's another play. You have to look up if you're a Steelers fan. That's just like how that guy played college as well, and he had a great spiral. It was a great throw. Number 2, you in the start of the show, you talked about retired numbers. Now, I'll put it to both of you. What 2 numbers are officially retired?
Joe Green's one of them.
Okay. You have Green?
Mm-hmm.
But I forget.
It's really hard, the other one.
Ernie Stuttner?
Yeah, how'd you get that?
He knows stuff. But what number?
don't remember the number.
I'm as soon as I'm gonna know 75. Okay.
Yeah, 75 was Joe Green and Ernie Stuttner. I had to look him up before because he played in the 1950s.
Yeah.
And another thing we talked about as well with the disconnect as well. That's why I wanted to bring it up. I have no idea who this guy is, but he played 14 years for the Steelers, and he was the first official retired number 70, Ernie Stuttner, defensive guy, 9-time Pro Bowler, Hall of Fame Canton, but he played in 1950.
Yeah.
For me, I was born in 1989, so it's a very long disconnect. But that's the only two numbers. And Elijah here, he's a massive fan of the page, and I wanted to get him on, but he wasn't doing audio.
Yeah.
43. That might be the next number, but no one will take 43.
Yeah.
Like they won't give that away. They won't give away 86 yet. This stuff like that.
They unofficially retire numbers pretty often, but
like
there are a lot that they
like
don't
that.
really issue.
Yeah, there'll come a time like you won't see any rookie having 43. That won't happen.
Yeah.
So I'll give you. I think it was you got 2, so 2-0. This one, what's the next one I got here? Okay. Who was the MVP in Super Bowl 43?
Is that what we just watched? No.
Yeah, it is hard too because there are players you think should be the player, but it's not.
It wasn't Ben.
But it could have been Ben.
Could have been Ben.
Like he played well. Right?
Oh no, I think it was Santonio Holmes.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, Holmes. I think that last drive with Holmes. He caught like 4 catches. He got about 70 yards, and then he won the game at the end. What year was the Steelers franchise created, or did it start?
Why would I know this one?
I was wearing hats.
Oh God. You always wear hats with them?
I don't, but the coaches on the sideline do. Mike Tomlin does. 33.
Oh yeah.
Yep, 1933. So it's almost coming to 100 years, really. What about 80 something years? Look, and that's another thing why you both said and why we're talking now. It's a great franchise. It's always been a good franchise. The owners from top down have always taken care of their players. Tomlin, Rooney's, all their kind of guys. Actually, I met a guy on the bus. It was so weird. I met a guy on the bus that his current girlfriend did date Rooney's grandson.
Wow.
And I was like, what the fudge? Like, how did I know that story? And he said the Rooney's grandson was he was into cars, but he was a bit of a weird like entrepreneur because he had the money. He pushed the power too much. And then the girlfriend said, "Oh, he was cool for a little bit, but I had to leave him because he was just like super strange." You know? And I was like, "How did I meet this guy?" And I told him I was a Steelers fan. He's like, "Oh yeah, by the way, my girlfriend dated the grandson."
Weird.
I was like, "Yeah, so weird." Dude. All right, last one. Catherine, you might get this one.
Oh no.
Did Jesse James catch that ball?
This is immaculate reception. No. Okay. I don't know. What's the Jesse James one?
2018, 2017?
Oh.
Yeah, 20 something. 20. I don't know.
I don't know.
The answer is absolutely.
Is this like, is this something I'm not remembering?
I'm not sure. I mean, the fact of the matter is he caught it. They ruled it not a catch, and then immediately changed the rules to say that it was a catch, but not in the game.
We'll have to show you. I'll put it up after the year after. So the year after they changed the rule that it was a catch. But in that game as a Patriots, it wasn't a catch and we lost the game. But it definitely was a catch.
It would have won us the game.
Yeah,
right. Because he did the movement like I don't know what he did. Moved out, ball over the line, touchdown.
He broke the plane successfully, and then when the ball hit the ground, it shifted in its hands. Now,
technically he was a runner, right? No, he was a catcher turned into a runner with the movement, 1, 2, 3 movement, whatever it is. Then did it, and then went, oh no, it's not a catch.
Yeah, I mean it would be considered a catch if the same thing happened. It would be considered a catch. In this instance, they said it wasn't, and then decided that it was, but not for our benefit.
Crazy. If Tom Brady's player, Hogan, And Tyler's here too. Also, guys, on our Steeler chat, I don't know if you guys have seen. I always share this guy Tyler. He does It's Yinsberg. Have you guys heard of that? The YouTube channel. That's the bloke.
Oh wow!
I put him up all the time. He does like all kinds of Steeler stuff, and I think he lives in Pittsburgh.
Hey.
But I'm going to get him on the show with I don't know what time it's over there. It must be I don't even know, like probably 5 a.m. or something. But yeah, he's got like 20K. He does awesome stuff, and he even has like videos like with Jesse Cordon. And like I said to him last year, like with the Browns when we fell to the Browns, that would have been the best movie to watch if the Steelers come back and won that game.
Yeah.
All right, guys. What are your final thoughts on the season? What do you reckon? And then we'll start to wrap it up.
I feel good. I feel like we got some young guns, and let's go win it.
Do you guys have like Steeler fans in Melbourne you can talk to? Because I always find this platform for me, the reason why I made it is to get out all my like black and gold out there so I can get rid of it and not annoy my family. Do you have Australian fans down there?
No. We have some mates who like watch games but aren't Steelers fans. Oh, Brad's a Patriots fan. Pity.
That's right. Exactly.
But yeah, no. If we don't have Steelers people.
Yeah.
In Melbourne.
I think that maybe that'll change during the season too. I mean, I don't know that.
Yeah, we haven't been.
I haven't been seeking people out as much in Melbourne yet because the game's on
down. Just walking around with jerseys saying, "Hey, you got to wear this. You got to wear this." Yeah. See that's like for me on the coast. I see some people. I've had 2 people I've run into when I wear my stuff, but because we are, that's why I've got people. I think Elijah here's up north in Queensland. There's guy. I actually thought for some reason I thought you guys were in Adelaide. I don't know why that was in my head, but there's guys in Adelaide. There's guys in New Zealand. There's It's always good to get on these forums and have a bit of a a laugh or put Steeler stuff out there, or even with our group because I annoy my friends. Like my friends are so sick of me talking about the Steelers. I'm like I could talk about them all day. There's even times I go to parties. I'm like I know football. When you want me to stop talking about football, let me know.
Yeah, just
tap me on the shoulder and be like, "Oh, we're done." I'm like, "Okay." It's like I go into, how the Bengals suck and how there's 12 teams that never won Super Bowl. You can just keep going on and on and on and on about, is Kirk Cousins a real quarterback or not? Why are the Bears? The Bears suck this year. Why do the Bears suck? But they were so good with Urlacher. There's so many things you can go into, and then people go, "Oh, you like the NFL?" I'm like, "Yeah," but I'm like, "How far do you want to go with it?" There's times where they're like, "Oh, I'm going to check out, mate," and you're like, "All right,
fair enough."
Thanks for your time.
And you
guys,
play fantasy as well?
Pardon?
Do you play fantasy as well?
No. Well, okay. This year, what I'm going to do, I'm going to put it on the page, and we're going to have a group. We're going to. Yeah. Another thing too, we're going to have. We have I know a bloke overseas. His name's Gil. He does like a Steeler photo. So what we're going to do in September, if you guys can't, I'm going to have one in Sydney. If you guys can't come up to Sydney, I might even designate you guys to be the Melbourne one. And we're going to have, it's all around the world on the same day. We have a Steelers photo, and last year we made the Steelers the website.
Oh, cool!
Very cool.
Yeah, there was I think about 111 cities last year. I went. That was for the virtual one, but the year before that I went to Melbourne to do it, and there was 8 of us showed up. There was Bella down there. There was Simon, who's always on the page too. So I'll and actually even Bella might run it, and you guys can just turn up. But there will be. I want to figure out. There will be a Melbourne one. There'll be a Sydney one. I can get a Brisbane one or something like that. Maybe 3 or 4. So when we do make the video, it's not just me and Sydney with.
Right.
Actually, if more than 4 people show up, it's awesome. Because like what I did last year, like we had 8, and I was like, whoa, 8. But if we can get people together in each city, and if we can make that, then they'll put us in Australia, and we'll be on the page. Like we'll be like big fans on the, So that's something we can do. We're looking to, fantasy would be cool. I've never done it because my friends don't. I don't know. I've never done it. We do tipping comps. Another guy I do tipping comps with. We might do one with him. I don't necessarily want to run a tipping comp with money because it's too much like legal stuff to do. But I can always put a link out for this big one. We can get involved in that. And if we do that, I'll probably give away if we join this other guy's tipping comp for $50 or whatever, and whatever Steeler guy is on the page is at the top. I'll give a prize to someone or something like that. but the fantasy one we can probably do. Like how many leagues can you have? How many teams can you have?
Oh, we played with how many? We played with 10.
Yeah, I've played in 14 team leagues. I don't know. Yeah.
Can you do like 10, like groups of 10 or something?
Yeah, I mean, you could be in different leagues, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's good fun. It's a nice way to get into the game and other players.
Yeah.
I sometimes don't love playing it because it occasionally means that
there's
a conflict of interest between players and whoever's playing the Steelers, which I don't love. No, it's a good time. It's good fun.
Yeah, I'll try and do that. Yeah,
maybe a little bit learning and it's
yeah.
I just found it so beneficial just to learn how the game works and to get to know players. Yeah, I wasn't sure that it was for me, and I did it last year. And
were you hooked?
Your trivia has fooled me. Like the idea that I just played trivia and didn't get a single thing right. Now I'm like, I'm going to study. Here from now, I'm going to do this again. But no, my competitive nature.
Wow.
Fantasy football was
would you guys be interested in? I think I might talk to Bella about doing a Melbourne event. It doesn't matter who organises it, but would you be interested on that day? It's normally the first Sunday of before the NFL season. Would you go to an event like that just to rock up? And I think it's normally Father's Day though. That's kind of weird, but it is.
Well, my dad's not a big Steelers fan because he watched this one game, and so I don't know how that'll go.
Totally.
Yeah, cool. Because what I'll do, I'm going to try and it's still 3 months away. It's a long time away, but these COVID things need to go away, and they will. If we can organise something, I think, because if I can get in contact with Gil, and I'm the organizer here, or for Australia, or for Sydney, or self-proclaimed, I guess. But I'll make it like for Sydney, Melbourne, and stuff like that. And that would be, if we can do that, that will create a lot of noise too. We had, say, 6 down in Melbourne, maybe 10 in Sydney or something like that with our flags and the same day. That would create some big noise, and it'd be really fun because Mexico gets heaps of people.
Yeah.
The United States gets them all. It's like, and I need because Gil came to my page and went, hey, we're doing this. And I went, holy shit. And then I actually met him overseas in Washington, and then he just threw the plan together. And him and Sergio have been doing this since like 2016 or 2015. Wow. And every year it's getting bigger and bigger. And all you got to do is we get there at 10 a.m. or 11, take the photo, and then, you can go home or you can go out for lunch. But when I did it in Melbourne, it was pretty cool. I was like, all I hope is like that one person shows up. Otherwise, it's just me doing this.
Right.
Any last thoughts, guys? I gotta get on out of here. Any last thoughts? All right.
You're doing an awesome thing. Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, that's still. We had 3 or 4 in the chat, and I'll get. It's just fun to do every month to meet you guys and to talk Steel football. For me, like I said, I could talk it forever. And my obsession is the more I get older, I'm like, I must be a nerd or something like that. I must be a big Steeler nerd. And I got all the stuff behind me. But yeah, it's awesome. Stick around for a minute, guys. I'll just talk to you quickly after. But yeah, thanks everyone for coming to. Well, it's been an hour. And next month Thursday we have another new guest, and we'll talk some more Steelers football. Stick around, guys. 1 sec.
Thank you.